How are you? It's me, Jean, and I have a question for you, of course. The last couple of days we've been talking about slow processing speed and executive function skills. So we're going to continue with the executive function skills. So have you ever, taken on a project? You thought, hey, Amber, you thought, this is a really cool thing because you saw the end product of the project and you thought, oh man, I would really love to be able to be involved with that. And so you start thinking about it and you're like, oh, I don't know, there's so much to do. And you lay awake at night and your head is just spinning about all the different things you need to do in this project. You see the project as a whole and not as a piece, all the little pieces. And you lose sleep over that, and you become overwhelmed. You become stressed. You're not sleeping. It just kind of snowballs on itself, right? Okay, so hi, I'm Jean Harville. I am the founder of Raising Kids Who Love to Read, and also I'm a reading strategy coach. And I am coming live on my business page, helping kids with reading. And I go live each day, Monday through Friday, to just kind of talk about some different basically comprehension, basically reading, and there's all the little different pieces that go into that. And one of the things I've been focusing on this week is processing speed and executive function skills, and that's really important. They play a part in being able to read and to be able to take the emotion out and to be able to be flexible in thinking, new ways of thinking, right? So a few years ago, I was handed this project, and let me back up just a second. I love doing physical projects, and I did a lot of this with Vacation Bible School, which many of you moms probably are in that year time of life right now, or you have done something, and I loved helping out. And so one of the things I did is I created a lot of the props and a lot of the staging. I just love to do that. And so I also like to teach too. So sometimes I would teach some of the different parts in Vacation Bible School. But I became in charge of decorations for about 6 different years. For I think 6 years. I finally handed the baton off of the paintbrush to somebody else. But anyway, I was approached by some of the people in my church. They wanted to do this opera, this like miniature opera type thing. We had some great singers too. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And it was called Noah's Flood, and F-L-U-D. And it basically was the story of Noah and the ark. And so they said, okay, so this is sort of like based on the minstrels that would move from village to village or small towns to small towns, and they would set up and they would invite people to come, and this play would begin and the actors would begin, and the set would actually be built as they are going through the whole scenes, the whole story. So by the end, they have this set that's built. So the set had to be broken down so it could be movable from place to place. I guess however on wagons, I guess is what they used it on. But so this was kind of the theme of this, and I'm like, okay, that's intriguing. Like, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And so they gave me this overall picture of what it was going to look like. It was going to have this ark and to be built, and then there'd be a big rainbow behind it and then singing and all sorts of things would be going on. I'm like, and then we would have the animals coming down the aisle to go into the ark. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this sounds like really huge and a lot of fun. And I had 3 months to do it in, and I said, sure. So then I started thinking, oh my, how am I going to get from here to here, And so it just started swimming in my head. I was so excited about the project, but I didn't know the pieces of this project and how I was going to get from this point to this point. And so it started being laid out for me. The person who was directing it, was in charge of creative control and actually in charge of the whole project, said, I'm going to get blueprints. They're going to be drawn up by a professional person who does blueprints. I don't know what the name of them are. And then from the blueprints, which would be like these small pieces, we're going to blow it up to gigantic size. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be interesting. Again, I was like, I'm just going to go along for the ride. I just can't, envision all the different pieces they're going to go into. I know I'm going to be painting. I know I'm going to be cutting. but how in the world is this going to take place? So I had to, I had to start thinking, okay, how do I step through this? What's the first thing that needs to be done? So after I met with the people involved and I saw their vision, I was thinking, okay, what's the first thing I need to do? What's the next thing I need to do? And what's the next thing? And they gave me a budget. It actually was limitless. And I'm like, seriously, limitless? They said, yes, we're going to find the money. And I'm like, okay. So I still felt that an obligation that I needed to keep the money, the finances down a little bit, because after all, it's your church and they don't have a lot of money. So they were going to get supporters and that sort of thing. And it all turned out great in the end. But imagine, all this stuff that was going on in my head, swimming and this responsibility that I had to produce this humongous stage that was going to occur. And I had 3 months to do it in. And then I had a distraction that my husband was in the hospital with his 6th surgery on a shattered elbow. And this surgery had to be the last one because the skin, just could not have surgery on it anymore. And so we weren't sure if he was going to be able to have full use of his elbow. It was because of a bicycle accident. He crushed the elbow. So anyway, so that was going on at the same time. And so there was just a lot of stuff. And then you had kids in school, picking them up, taking them, and being mom and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, okay, we've got to just put this all out and get it organized so I can go step by step by step through this project. Anyway, the project turned out fantastic. I did it on time, elicited a lot of help. And that was the big thing, is I called in help. Different people would just show up. Literally, I would pray, Lord, I need, this is what I need. I really would love to have somebody to step up and to help with some painting, or to step up and help with this part of the project that was going on, because I was feeling overwhelmed, like I don't understand or know what to do with that. And you know what? The next day, literally the next day, somebody would show up and say, I know how to read blueprints. I know how to use an overhead projector, and we can project this larger. I was like, seriously? She said, yeah, I used to do that. Oh my gosh. And she was an artist as far as painting. And I'm like, oh, this is so fun. This is great. And then another time, a gentleman, we had, what do you call it? When it, I can't remember the name of it, but caregivers would bring the folks that they were having to take care of, they would bring them for that day out so that the caregivers could go and do what they needed to do, and the people would be in the gym. And I did this on the stage, so all these people were in the gym. One of the gentlemen, really nice gentleman who was helping with that, walked up on the stage and said, I can do that. I said, what? He says, I can do that for you. He had been watching what I had been doing, and he said, I'm a former engineer, and I love to make things, and I can make that work, and I know what to do here. And he was, I think he was like in his 70s at the time, and I was just like, thank you, Lord. He just answered my prayer. I did not put any parameters on who it was that was going to show up, but these people would just show up. Another friend of mine showed up. She was an art teacher. She said, I can do that. I cut out the forms. She painted in watercolors these beautiful animal heads that we had on poles. She helped me do that part. I didn't know how that was going to work. So God just took me through this whole thing and this whole project, and I didn't have to worry at all. And all the pieces were falling in place. So where am I going with this story? Okay. So think about this for our own kids. Our own kids, that they may, are not, they're still trying to figure out how to use that executive function skills that they have, right? That they are able to be able to, let me see, look at my notes real quick. To have that flexible thinking, to be able to have new information to put in, and what to do with that information. How is it going to be held in their memory, in their working memory, while they are using that information before it goes into the the other memory. I forget, my brain is like today. So and then also, how are they going to remain focused to get to that end result, right? Because there's also that emotion that's involved as well. So to help them with their, like, a new project maybe that they have, or maybe they're learning a new sport, or maybe they're learning a new like over the summer, learn how to braid or make bracelets. There's lots of new things that they can try because the summertime they can do that. But then they see the end result, but they're not sure how to get to it. So they get frustrated and maybe blow up, you know, and not know how to break that whole piece into little pieces so that they can go step by step by step by step, right? The same thing with comprehension. They see this massive text, or even it can be a paragraph for some of our little ones. That's a lot of text. And they're thinking, how am I going to be able to read this? I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to read all the words or figure them out. I don't remember half of them. And on top of that, I have to know what it's saying to comprehend, because somebody may ask me a question about what I just read. And so all of that is emotion that can be, you know, that can come into play. They have the fear. Fear can come into there, like, I don't want to even start this reading or start this paragraph or start this project because I don't think I can get to the end. And so that fear holds them back. And then maybe, you know, just they don't have the fearless. Maybe they are fearless and they say, I'm going to attack this, and they get going and they stumble and fall. Or if they're in class or if they're in school, I don't want to read in front of my classmates because what if I make a mistake? And so you're focused so much on reading every single word correctly, perfectly, and then the teacher asks you a question about what you just read, and you're like, nope. And that was me in 5th grade. I had no idea what I had just read. I read it perfectly, not even a mistake. I was very fluent. I sat down. I was like, yes, nailed it. And the teacher starts asking questions, and I just like, ooh, don't ask me, because I have no idea what I just read, because I honestly was not paying attention to what I was reading. So all of that can, you know, jumble up and can be overwhelming for our kids. So let's say they start a new skill. Let's say they want to learn how to shoot a bow and arrow, like archery, right? And so there's skill, or there's steps to that, right? And so all they see is and the first thing you want to do is have them see the end result. And the end result is them just standing there, pulling back that bow and shooting the arrow and landing right smack dab in the middle of that target, right? And so that's really what they want to do. That's what they see themselves doing. But they're not sure how to get to that point. So they become frustrated because they try it, and you know, the arrows go all different directions, or goes, you know, they can't figure it out, or even how to even hold the bow, and they get frustrated and they throw it down. I don't even know how to do this, right? So one of the best ways that you can do this, I think it's the number one way that I have found to cut through that overwhelm, even on my project that I did, is I just did a brain dump. I just got it all out of here onto paper. And you can do that with your kids. You can help them. You know, like, okay, so you want to learn how to shoot the bow and arrow. What do you need to know first? Well, first you have them visualize what that end result is it's shooting that arrow right smack into the middle of that bullseye, right? And so you think, okay, let's back this up a minute. And so for your younger kids, you'll have to question them through it because they don't know what the steps are in order to get to that point. Older kids may, you know, they may watch their friends and have an idea of what they need to do. So break it down into smaller steps. And you can write those steps down as you are exploring that with them. So what's the first step you need to be able to do? Well, you need a bow and arrow. You need to have that, right? And so you maybe make a plan to go and look at some bows and arrows that are going to fit their hand, their size, or whatever. And then, of course, the next thing might be maybe watch some videos. Maybe, you know, because YouTube is full of those, how-to videos. And so you can say, okay, get your next step from there. So we need to be able to know how to pull the string back, the bow, right? And then how to set the arrow, too high, too low, how to hold it there. So you practice step by step by step until you get to the point where he can actually shoot it. But it's not gonna hit that bullseye right away, right? So it takes practice, right? And so all the one of the executive function skills is that self-control. It allows them to be able to make those decisions without, on the information without being emotionally involved. Take the emotion out of there. Give them that encouragement. You can do this. And this is fun. And just say, this is fun. Just imagine you shooting and be able to get that arrow at the bullseye. It will take a lot of practice, but when you get there, how are you going to feel? You're going to feel great, right? Like proud that you have really done a great job. Until then, we're going to take little baby steps to figure out how to get there. The same thing with comprehension. And that's why I've been focusing on the different pillars of comprehension. What do you need? Because the comprehension is that end result of reading. This is why we read, so we can understand what we read. So what are those small baby steps that we need to do to get to that comprehension? Right? So that's basically is that doing that brain dump. Take notes. How many of you actually write like a list of everything that you need to do for the day, right? I do, yes. And that's actually the only way I can do it. I have to get it out of my head. Otherwise, I don't know what to do. I'm paralyzed. Do I do this? Do I do that? I get, scattered everywhere. And so I don't get anything done. I can't process it because it's too overwhelming. So the same thing, it works with our kids too. When they have an assignment, when they have an essay to write, what's the first thing you need to do? What's the next thing you need to do? How's it going to feel when you have it completed? To hopefully get that motivation in there, right? But helping them to break that down into smaller pieces. See the pieces that they need to get to that whole. So anyway, it's the same thing with, comprehension. And so that it's going to be different for every child because every child's going to have different strengths and weaknesses in their skills, in their reading skills to get to that end result. And so that's where, that's one of the things that I can do to help with that, to be able to figure out and to assess what's going on with your child and where the skills are, the weak skills are that's preventing your child from being able to read and to understand and to comprehend. So, you want more fun to increase your kids' comprehension skills? So check, you can click like and follow this page and also this video, pass it around to other moms that that need to hear this, and then come join us in Raising Kids Who Love to Read Facebook community for Christian moms who are looking for those most effective reading strategies to move their struggling readers into confident readers. And everyone's looks different, okay? Because we all are different. We have different skill sets that are weak, that are strong, as well as emotional sets, as well as attention and executive functioning skills that are working or not working up to where they need to. So, working with each individual and, knowing everyone's story. And I love the questions that are being answered as y'all are coming into the group because it's helping me to format and to focus on what I'm hearing as what the needs are okay? So keep doing that. Keep telling your friends when they come in to please answer the questions so that I can gear lives to this. And then at the end of the week, I will process the lives and I will send them to you through email. So if you haven't jumped on my email list yet, please do that. You can come to the group, Raising Kids Who Love to Read, and you can answer the questions, give me your email, or there are some free resources inside the group that you can grab, and one of them will get you on my email list. So I send the lives through email. That way, if you're too busy during the week, I know we're all busy moms. I get that. I totally get that. That way, I can give them to you in your email. So, like I said, go ahead and click. You can click. I'll put the link above. You can click the link, or you can just look it up in the search for Facebook. Raising Kids Who Love to Read. So I'd love to have you in there, and I'll look forward to talking with you. Bye.